ain't nothing like a funky beat.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Guapish at the Disco. As always, I am your host Tanner, and today, as per usual, I am joined by the hairiest Viking known to man, Jackson.
That's really fucked up you say that, man. I've never been able to grow a mustache. I've never been able to get a beard. I barely even have any hair on myself except for my massive bush.
Damn. And finally joining us, the man who's not joining the swine cult, but is joining the wine cult. Tanichi.
What does he mean by that?
What the fuck, man? I'm gonna neuter you in my next album intro, I swear to God.
That's right, everyone. Today we're reviewing the album Pansarfolk by Hulkoff. This is our first follow-up album, as in we're doing the same album by a guy who did not the same we reviewed this guy before, is what
really
I'm trying to say. I know. I'm stumbling all over myself.
Yeah, man, come on, spit it out.
Overall thoughts. Let's start with Tanichi. Tanichi, what are your overall thoughts on Pansarfolk?
No, push it. Yeah, push it to Jackson. I need to collect them a little bit more.
Okay, so this album's kind of a bummer for me, and frankly, let me just get this out of the way. I planned on doing a lot more of this, but honestly, this album was kind of like fucking funbroinc and Dylan for me. That's a deep cut there. Nobody's gonna know what the fuck I mean by that. But I listened to it one time initially, and then I just could not fucking get through it. Not that it was like bad or anything. I don't know why. I just couldn't make it through the whole fucking thing. And then I listened to it twice again in like the last week to prepare for it, actually doing it, and wrote down some notes. But it was just really hard for me to get fucking through the album. I planned on listening to like the whole thing a couple of times in Swedish and then in English. I only ever listened to it in English. I listened to a few select songs in Swedish, just like the ones that I liked a lot. I went and looked at them again just to like check out how they sounded in a different language. And I also wanted to listen to the original album as well, just so I could have like a bit more of an anchor with where I would think my rank would be if I like this one more or less than that one. I think my biggest overall thing is just that things are very samey for me. A lot of songs are structured pretty similarly. They've got like a kind of interesting intro. It goes into the normal sound of the album. They've got like a little bit of like a fun solo thing near the end, and then they close out with the chorus that they always do in all their songs. And it just made a lot of them pretty samey, and a lot of songs are pretty repetitive to me, which it's a similar complaint to the first album as well. There were certainly songs that I liked. That there's a few, frankly, that stand out to me. I didn't like dislike really any of them, except for like one of them I'm teetering on not particularly liking, but like nothing was like bad to me. It was all totally serviceable. I'm just not crazy about any of it.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess I'll save it for when I do my thoughts. Are you ready now, Tanichi?
God, yes.
Go ahead. What are your overall thoughts?
Jackson didn't touch on it, but the musical quality of this is pretty okay. I like it. It's not that bad. Like, it's composed, it's succinct, there's an idea, there's like a theme and structure, and it all fits. Yeah, it's competently made music. I was listening to this with a friend, and she said that this sounds like Swedish military recruit music. And after I heard her say that, I could not think of anything else, which killed the kind of the second Swedish listen and then the second and third fucking English version, because that's all I could hear after this. But I really like the folk shit they're doing in this. I think it's really creative. I think it's cool. I think it's a little disingenuous to be like, oh, dude, I like when they use creative instruments in rock, but not in this. Like, I don't know if the folk sounds are particularly Swedish themed or like Swedish vibes. I don't know if this is Swedish music, but the folk shit goes hard. Yeah, man, the atmosphere of this is fucking crazy. There are some songs that have like this sort of build up, and then they have this sort of like where a bridge is meant to keep the music going. It's like he uses his bridge to get you like more excited, and I like that. I think that's really creative. I'm just not Swedish, and I would sell crack before I serve a country, so I can't lock in with this music.
Very funny. Yeah, my overall thoughts. I think this is a pretty solid first guy to do a follow-up with, because like there's such a very clear progression between his debut album and this one with how he's choosing to evolve his sound and whatever. Specifically the way he's bringing in a lot of traditional like Swedish instruments and going for a more folk sound. I liked this album. I will say, and this might be shocking, I didn't like it as much as Kven. And a big part of that is just like, this has a lot of songs that hang up there with the songs in Kven for me, but the handful of songs in this one I don't like them much more than I didn't like anything in Kven. One thing I do disagree with Jackson on is I actually thought this album had a pretty solid amount of like sound diversity, especially compared to Kven. Like, we actually have a handful of slow songs and much faster songs and medium speed songs. And for a lot of them, he usually is only bringing in one, like, unique folk instrument and having that be, like, the accent throughout the song. And he even had a couple of different, like, rhythms he was using for, like, the vocals in there. Although I will say the two songs in this one that have particularly unique vocal rhythms, I didn't like them specifically for that reason.
Well, like Over Dead Man?
No. But I would say, yeah, that one does have a more unique rhythm, but that wasn't the one I was thinking about.
Fair enough. I will agree with you guys. I guess just to clear my name here, the instrumentation variety is not necessarily my criticism. It's mostly just with the structure of a lot of the songs rather than the actual, like, you know, substance of it. Where I do agree, one of my positives for this album is just like the variety of instrumentation. You know, some of them have fucking flutes in them or whatever instrument that is. Well, there's like a banjo in one of the later songs, which I do think is fun. I think it adds some desperately needed variety for me. But like you had also mentioned, they take more of like an accent piece, so it's really just like the same thing, but with a different kind of like background sound for me, unfortunately.
Okay, let's go into standouts.
I kind of vibe with that.
Jackson, what were your standouts? Too. Oh, what did you want to say, Tanichi?
I was gonna say that too. He kind of stole it under my feet at the end there.
I'm sorry.
But I think my point in saying, like, it gives me that military recruiter vibe is good, because I think that's, like, I don't want to say that's his vibe, but that's his, like, or not even his gimmick. Like, the way Starset does their fucking space shit is how I feel this band is doing this, and I could be wrong about that. But I like it. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I thought the way these tracks are put together are pretty good. I don't know, I really like the folk shit. Like, if it was just an album of folk shit, I'd vibe.
Fantastic.
Anyways, I've got two positive standouts, that being Olden and Varangian, which Varangian, however you pronounce it, man. Who fucking knows, man? Those crazy Europeans. But I like them both for similar reasons. That being that they're both fast, and I'm genuinely just gonna sound like fucking Tanner when I say that. But I do genuinely like them a lot because they are just the most fast and the most fun. I'm not crazy about the vocal style. I don't like dislike the vocal style or anything, but I'm certainly much more into the instrumentation, and I think those two songs, at least for me, stand out the most. with their instrumentation. There were some other ones too that I thought were interesting, like Over Dead Man. I think that has some cool stuff near the end of it, and I do like the vocals in that one specifically. And King Wada was another one that I liked to get about too, specifically for the instrumentation. But yeah, Olden and Varangian, however you pronounced it, were easily my favorite two songs. They're just, especially the last one, Varangian, it's just kind of a banger. It's just really fun. Like, genuinely, I was kind of, I don't want to say over the album, but for me, there's a lot of like whatever songs up until Olden. Then I'm not, spoiler, my least favorite song is Lone Wolf. Not crazy about that one. It's the slowest by far. I'm not crazy about the banjo, and I don't really care about the lyrics, so it was just kind of whatever to me. I didn't like listening to it. But then like that one lets me down, and I get immediately brought right back up. My notes for Varangian are genuinely just so fast, so fun. Maybe they do have the sauce, because it's me losing a ton of interest, and that one just immediately takes me back. And I will say, Varangian and Olden and King Wada were the three songs that I went in, or I guess I listened to Marshall as well in Swedish. And honestly, controversial opinion, I know Tinichi had mentioned this prior to us doing the reviews, but I kind of prefer the Swedish performances a bit.
I agree.
I can't exactly maybe put a finger as to, well, you know, like put a point as to like why that is. Honestly, I can't really verbalize it really, except for like two minor things maybe. That being one, again, I'm not crazy about the vocal style, but I do think it works better in Swedish. And two, there is some songs that have like a bit of an awkward flow to the vocal delivery and some of the lyrics. And I definitely like it. I listen to a lot of Japanese music, unsurprisingly, and I'll listen to artists that will make English covers of the same songs in Japanese, and it feels very similar to that kind of vibe, where it just feels a little bit more stilted and awkward to me. And there's some songs in this. Yeah, well, no, that's what I'm saying. The English version felt a little bit more stilted and awkward to me, because it feels like it was made around the Swedish and then the English was the translation. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I could be totally wrong. But
I can't say for sure, but I will say Kven only has an English version. So it is quite likely that he writes songs in English first and then translate them into Swedish.
Potentially. The bigger thing, too, is also...
That's fire.
I speak English and I don't speak Swedish. So I wouldn't be able to know if they're having, like, a stilted vocal delivery or something, because I don't know when their sentences are stopping at any... Oh, what the fuck's going on? They're just making noises, you know? So it masks a lot more. I'm sure it's a very similar thing of, like, who knows if this anime I'm watching with watching those subtitles in Japanese, if it's actually good voice acting, or if I just don't know fucking anything about how to tell good and bad voice acting apart in a foreign language. Right. But yeah, I did like those songs a lot in Swedish. I think they're very fun. I actually added Varangian to my playlist, which we haven't really mentioned, like I added this to my playlist and albums. I don't do it very often, but I added that one, specifically the Swedish version.
Nice. Okay, Tanichi, how about you? What are your standouts?
My standout was the first fucking track on both editions. I really liked it. I liked it in English for different reasons that I like the Swedish version, which I thought was pretty interesting. The Swedish version, I don't know. I agree with Jackson. It just feels like he put more, like the Swedish version was his like first, and then the second one was the English one, if that makes sense. So a lot of the energy and oomph is in the first one. Like, I mentioned this in the fucking DM, but that like guttural roar he does in the first track is fucking cool. And in the Swedish version, it's a lot more energetic than it is in the English one, which is like the best way I could explain why they feel different to me. It feels like the Swedish one is natural, whereas the English ones, he's like pushing himself a little bit. Another good standout track was King Wada. I like that one too. I thought it was really good. I did not like Hogs of War. I didn't get it. I don't know. It sounds the most military recruit Swedish song. And like, it's the one in my head that like I think of when I think of like the parts I don't like about this album the most is that one. And I don't know. Is it Ride? Oh yeah, it is literally Ride Hard. It's funny the way it looks on the album in the Swedish version. Read Harf. I didn't like that one either. It just felt generic. Like, after everything I had listened to on the album, that one felt the most like he was just trying to make a song that sounded like him. And he did it. I think I didn't like it. No. I like what it means to this album. I feel like it's a good break point because I feel like I can stop there and I don't have to listen to the other fucking 4 songs because I don't even really remember them. And my notes for them are like, it increasingly goes from paragraph notes to like sentences at that point. So I'm assuming that's where the drop off happened. But in my notes, I have fucking Ride Hard, did not like it, end album here.
I will say, I guess, just to interject, with the whole like Swedish, military recruitment bit, I do think it's funny to think of it that way because some of these songs are just kind of a bummer in the way they portray war, like specifically the one that stands out to me is Ingvar, where like it's just glorifying the act of them going out and dying.
Yeah.
Like they like
and not
explicitly
even, like,
say
dying
like
in battle.
Yeah, they're never coming home. Like why is that what you're glorifying? Why not go out and kick some fucking ass and come home? Why is it that the dying part's the cool thing? I don't know.
Because it's like the realism of the situation.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, if you go into war, a ton of people are
going
fucking
into
die,
war.
But it's still
we might not make it back.
Glorify it, I assume it's just to make people more comfortable in like Viking culture to make them more comfortable to like sacrifice themselves for their people. It's like a manipulation tactic or something.
Death.
But I just think it's interesting.
You're gonna die anyway. Go die on the field with your axe in your head.
But yeah. That is funny because Ingvar ends with it's like they don't even die in battle; they die of like the fever or something. Very funny. Okay, so I had mentioned, I don't remember if this was in the recording or afterwards. I had said if you guys can successfully guess what my favorite and least favorite song on this album is, I will recruit you to help me pick my next pick.
Oh God,
so Jackson. I will say I'm going to say there is one definitive least favorite. I think I'll say 3 valid favorites. So Jackson, what do you think my favorite and least favorite songs on this album were?
Dude, I think your least favorite was Hamingja. And I think your favorite was, I'm going to say, mine, Varangian.
Okay. You're incorrect on both accounts. Hamingja, very close. That was my second least favorite. Tanichi, what do you want to guess?
Dude, I think your favorite was Over Dead Man. And your least favorite was Ulden.
Dude, you successfully got one of my favorites. However, I quite like Ulden, actually. I'm on board with Jackson there. My least favorite, definitively, is Lament of the Heftalite, I think. And it's mostly because this is one of the ones where he goes for a different vocal delivery, mostly where it's like ba 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 sort of thing, and I just don't think it works with how deep and gruff his voice is to do that like really quick delivery. And he does a similar kind of delivery on Hamingja, which is also why I don't like that one. Although I will say, in Hamingja, the jaw harp, very funny, and I do like the lyrics "Poison drips from the trader's knife." I think that's a pretty cool sounding line from that one. And then my 3 positives stand out. Now I will say, over time of having listened to this album, my favorite constantly changes. Ingvar, I think, was my first ever favorite. Lone Wolf is one of my favorites. I like how different that one is, even though it is like the slow song or whatever. I think it's pretty cool. It's more of it's more pure folk and not metal. And I just think the story that song tells is a really cool concept, because basically what it is this a literal wolf that has watched the rest of its pack be domesticated and are now being used to hunt him, which I think is just a really cool idea. And also, this song has an excellent line of the ones who sold their freedom hates the one who still is free. I think that's a fucking banger of a line. I have unironically considered getting a tattoo of that line.
I'm not even gonna lie with that song specifically. Call Me a Retard. I think the banjo genuinely just kind of takes me out of it. It just sounds... I don't know. I can't fuck with banjo music. It just sounds goofy to me. I probably just need to listen to more of it to get that, like, predisposition out of my head. But it was just very distracting for me on that track. I do agree. The story was interesting. My big thing is I didn't pay attention to the fucking lyrics on any of these things. Go on.
Fair enough. Another one of my favorites, which might be surprising or not. I'd say my current favorite going into this was Over Dead Man. And this is another one where, like, it's a slower song, but for some reason I just really connect with this. I love the message of it, of sort of like the reason why you should endure suffering and, you know, engage in labor and whatever. And it makes me feel like a connection to my ancestors or something. I don't know. I know that's fucking cringe to say, but it is what it is.
I love that so much. We should listen to slave hymns.
Oh my god. Old man river, that old man.
That's not a slave hymn.
Yeah, it is. What are you talking about? Well, it's not a hymn, you're right, but it is a slave song. Anyway, I really like Ingvar. I think the driving riff on the drop is really good, and I like the lute solo, and I think the ending is pretty solid. And then my highest rated song on the album, and I forget which one of you said it was Tanichi who said he hated this song. I love Hildisvin, the pig song.
I don't like Hogs of War.
I love how fast it is. I love how aggressive this fucking song is. I like the transition from one singer and the other, although I will say, when they are singing together, Hulkoff completely overpowers the other guy and you cannot hear him at all. And I just really like the chorus as well. This is just, I mean, you know, I'm known for liking fast, aggressive songs, and this is the fastest and the most aggressive one on the album. And
but it sounds goofy.
Dude. Metal is supposed to be goofy, though, but it's like goofy in a way you take seriously is the thing. It's a real fine line to walk here. Yeah. As for the Swedish versions, I only checked them out once. I think for the vast majority of them, it's a lateral move. You could do one or the other, and it doesn't really matter. I default to English just so I can understand the lyrics. I think Haminga is slightly better, although that could just be because, you know, I didn't like the vocal delivery on the English version, so maybe, like, the number of, what the fuck are those things called? Syllables. The number of syllables he needs in Swedish are such that it matches the song better. I thought Hildisvin was much worse. I don't think it flows very well at all in Swedish. And for Over Dead Men, I thought the Swedish delivery didn't have the solemnness that the English version does that I really like. Yeah, for all the other ones, I'm like, yeah, this is about the same. Do we have?
Do you think it doesn't have that in the fucking English version versus the Swedish version, or you just think the song doesn't have it?
No, I think he does have solemnness in the English version, and I don't feel it the same way in the Swedish one.
I feel it the other way around. That's weird.
Do we have any other thoughts before we go into the rankings?
I guess going back to my initial point that I didn't really expand upon a ton of me having this album kind of being like fucking Skinnamarink for Dylan. Like, actually, not necessarily that point. The big thing here for me is that I actually liked it a good amount the first listen, but like with a lot of these albums, it is kind of like a curse. I want to listen to them a good amount of times just so I can get acquainted with the sound and, you know, formulate more of an opinion on it. But a lot of the time, I find my first listen to just be the best, and then it just gets kind of worse over time. Like, I was much higher on this album the first time I listened to it. Like, I liked it more than Kevin, a pretty good amount. And then the more I listened to it, the worse I thought of it, unfortunately. I think the last time that happened with was probably the Coheed and Cambria album.
Dude, shout out Coheed.
True. Love that guy's voice.
Dude, let's wrap this shit up.
I think Tanichi's gonna be lowest on it. So, Tanichi, what is your overall score?
Dude, I don't think I'm gonna be lowest on this. I gave this thing a fucking 6.5.
So a 6 or a 7?
Points.
Yeah, like a 6, I guess.
Okay.
But I want to push it to a 7, but I think I'll leave it at a 6.
Okay. I guess you don't want it that bad.
Yeah, I guess I'm like at a 6.4.
Okay. Jackson?
This is probably going to be one I'm going to look at again when we re-rank, assuming I actually get around to it this time. I want to listen to Kevin again. Right now, I'm saying this is a lateral move from that album to this one for me. I think that one had a lot more lows than this one, but I've got more songs like on this one, and a lot of them are just kind of whatever to me, which is similar, but there's just less like stinkers in this one compared to Kevin, so I'm giving it a 6.
Whoa. I am kind of the opposite of you. This one had lows that Kevin didn't have for me. I gave this one a 7.
That's a pretty. What you give? You gave Kevin like a fucking 10 or like a 9 or a 10.
Nah, I gave it a 9.
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial decrease. Then check that out. Anyways, that lands it at a 6.3 out of 10, meaning it is the same rank as Ornithology and a little bit worse than Kevin at a 6.7. 0.4 less than Kevin.
Crazy stuff.
I love Ornithology. We need to re-rank that.
Anyway, Tinichi, what are you picking?
Dude, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to fucking pick. I said I wanted to pick something rap, but I didn't want to go rappity rap because those always get dog shit numbers. So I went with kind of like a comedy, funny thing, but not necessarily the comedy. Yeah, not 2010s shit, piss, and cum comedy. I'm picking the Young Scrolls album, fucking Saint by Jib. So Young Scrolls essentially just takes fucking lines from Elder Scrolls games and mixes them into music. And I like this album.
Wait, what's the name of the album and what's the name of the artist?
The artist's name is Young Scrolls. The character or the voice lines he took from the character is Jib, Saint Jib, and the album is just called Saint. So I would call this
it's
the
Saint
Young Scrolls.
by Young Scrolls.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I linked it in the fucking chat because it's not on Spotify.
I was gonna say I cannot find this on YouTube Music.
Shit's not on YouTube Music either.
It doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah. To not get copyright claimed, I'm pretty sure he just says this is like game stuff.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure that's going to be a hoot and a holler. If you guys want more reviews, I guess just keep coming here because we're making them regardless of how much viewership we get. But subscribe to our Patreon and, we watch movies and do podcasts and shit.
Yeah. If enough people subscribe to the Patreon and say it's for the album, you guys can pick an album.
Let's not go crazy here.
If you guys give us enough money that we can all quit our jobs, yeah, we'll do whatever you want, truly.
That or the audience could start picking singular tracks,
Who knows? These are
we don't have an audience,
hypotheticals that'll never happen, so...
What do you mean? We've got
Go
Dylan.
click that subscribe button. We're almost at 200. This outro has gone too long. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.